My ex is cheating on his potential new girlfriend with me. He wants to have his cake and eat it too. I, 20F, have been with my ex, 18M, for nearly 3 years. We met in high school after sharing a class together and common interests. I was very hesitant due to the age difference, but eventually we developed a very strong bond that led to us dating. As you can tell by the title, we've broken up. After the breakup, I went through a really terrible time period within the first month of the initial breakup with zero contact. I began to drink nearly every day of the week. I partied with my co-workers and unfortunately got taken advantage of while I was drunk. I felt more alone than ever due to not having a strong relationship with my friends and family at the time. A month prior to the day of the assault, I went to a mental hospital following the breakup. I got diagnosed with bipolar II disorder and I finally began taking medication for it. After this incident, I was on the brink of committing suicide and genuinely had no one else that I could talk to about it. I reached out to him and we talked about what happened. He wasn't upset with me whatsoever. I was scared he would blame me for it, but he didn't. He felt heartbroken that I went through that on my own. We reconnected eventually and began to work towards building our relationship through a friendship as he suggested, so I thought. I know what you're thinking, why the hell would she believe her ex would want to be more than FWB after the breakup? We seemed to be on the same page and it wasn't one-sided. During this time period, he began another relationship with someone else and went to great lengths to hide it. Slowly the pieces started to fall into place and it became very evident what he was doing. I'm super in denial and overall not very experienced in relationships. I wanted to believe him when he told me lie after lie. He finally left me for the other girl because he wanted us to go our separate ways. He claimed it wasn't for the new girl, that's just a friend, but clearly it was. I finally started to move on, but he would go just long enough to catch a break from me for the week. He came back into my life, love bombing me every other week, saying how he couldn't live without me, she was nothing compared to me, etc. He told me he cut her off completely, so I didn't feel in the wrong for fooling around with him. I began to play into this hot and cold game with him. It quickly turned into this toxic cycle of stupidity. This stupid cycle I stupidly refused to break free from when it's clear as day me being his second choice. The last time we saw each other, I invited him to come over and we had a good time together. We routinely began to hang out once a week. We sat in each other's presence and just listened to music. Prior to this, we argued so intensely daily because we lived with each other due to the situation I faced at home. We decided to go see a movie on this particular day, and on the drive back things took a turn. The girl began to call his phone numerous times over Bluetooth and I went to accept the call. He claimed she's just a friend, so I decided that answering it wasn't going to escalate much further than a bit of small drama. When I reached to accept the call, he grabbed both of my wrists, pleading for me not to, and bit me extremely hard. I was extremely shocked because it was such an insane reaction. After he did that, he told me he was going to crash the car. I covered my wrist and yelled at him to pull over. We pull over and I looked down to see what he did. He bit me so hard that he broke through the skin and made me bleed. He pleads with me to show him what he did and he began to sob. He quickly started to apologize, saying he was so sorry and he couldn't believe what he had done. I told him he was starting to become abusive and he started crying more. That didn't last very long. Within the next 5 minutes he started yelling at me, telling me that it was my fault for grabbing his phone, going to accept the call. I know I'm not in the right for touching his phone, but that still doesn't make it right what he did. He told me how he hated being in a relationship with me and all of these hateful things. He threatened to break the rest view mirror as he was slamming his fist down. I got out of the car and told him I didn't feel safe. He said I was his favorite person in the world and he loves me so much. After we fight, he always backtracks and says that he doesn't feel that way truly, so I've become used to it in a way. He hasn't talked to me since the incident, but he promised he would call and try to see me the next day to talk things over. Instead, he's resorted to ignoring my calls and texts. I can't tell if this is considered abuse due to the nature of the situation. We are young, so I try to reason with myself that he doesn't mean it. It's extremely complicated, to say the least. I don't understand why I still want him after everything. I don't understand why I'm still hurting after he's clearly done caring about my well-being. How do I move forward? Do I deserve the treatment since I should have known better?